quickly because you've got busy work this morning. Good morning, President McCarthy and Board Trustees. This morning you begin the process of one, if not the most important task you as a board are responsible for. That task is to choose the next superintendent for the Stockton Unified School District. To be sure, it's no small task and not one to be taken lightly. This district is in dire need of peace. Financial peace, educational peace, and yes, labor peace. But peace cannot be achieved until a superintendent is hired who sets the tone by leading with integrity rather than deception, and one that models respectful, lawful behavior for the staff, community, and students. Financial peace comes from the transparency when dealing with how money is spent, when it's spent, and what it's spent on. With board members, community members, and union leaders, when they raise questions about a $58 million carryover in categorical funds, they deserve a respectful response that includes a full and detailed accounting of whose funds, how those funds were expended. Financial peace also comes from a true partnership, one that builds trust with all of us and recognizes that what we all really want is to once again achieve the best educational system in the nation by fully funding the schools, because last place is no place for our kids. Educational peace comes from working closely with all the stakeholders to raise the bar for the district's students, including those who create the environment that makes learning possible, the classified employees. And everyone who works within the educational system has great value in producing the end product, a well-rounded, confident young adult ready to take on the world and achieve their dreams. And labor peace comes first and foremost by honoring agreements that you've made, by playing fair, and when in doubt, giving the edge to the worker rather than taking them for everything they've got. Now that sounds pretty simple, but not so much so when it comes to Stockton Unified. Just 3 months ago, almost to the day, CSEA Chapter 318 reached an agreement with the district regarding vacant positions. CSEA agreed to waive the timeline noted in the contract, allowing the district to utilize substitute paraprofessionals beyond the contractually stipulated 75 days for vacant positions. The district, in turn, agreed not to fill those agreed-upon vacancies and would instead leave the vacancies technically vacant for the purposes of potential rehire for the laid-off qualified employees for this next school year. Should those vacancies not be filled by laid-off paras during the next year's rehire process, they in turn are to be advertised and filled in accordance with the contract. Yet when CSEA came to the table earlier this week in good faith to negotiate the effects of the proposed layoffs of paras, the district flip-flopped, taking the position that vacant positions were not to be made available to laid-off paras who meet the minimum qualifications as you determine, as the agreement clearly states, and has been the case for decades under an established past practice. Oh, can I go ahead? Okay. Under an established past practice here in the district, and is in accordance with the law under the recent case of Tucker v. Grossmont Union High School District. It makes no sense to repeatedly deny promotional opportunities to long and talented employees, and it is just plain wrong to lay off workers in favor of contracting out with outside vendors to do the work of the laid-off worker, which is also being done. To do so is cruel, inhumane, and, oh, by the way, illegal. But that seems to be the normal way of doing business here in Stockton Unified. Labor peace will also come from responding in a timely manner to simple requests. Can someone tell me how the district can place workers into interim appointments, meaning an employee is acting in another employee's position, or in some cases in a vacant position, yet the district is unable to provide the union the list of the names of those employees whose position they're acting in, whether or not they're acting in the position, or if it's vacant, or who the permanent employee is on leave? You'd think the district would know the name of the employee on leave and the date the other employee began acting in the position. It's unfathomable to think an employer wouldn't be tracking this information, considering a notice of personnel action has been filed, and in some cases the employee is receiving a different pay rate than in their regular position. CSEA has been asking for this information since May 26th, and to date the district has been unable to provide the information in its entirety. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Simple things like this could go a long way towards achieving labor peace. And finally, to achieve labor peace, the board must hire a superintendent who will create a culture of respect and collaboration, one who will make it clear to those employed in the Human Resources Department that it is a requirement of the job to foster a cooperative labor management relationship, to view labor as a partner instead of an evil burden that provides no value to the educational process. I am tired of constantly being at war in this district. Aren't you tired of spending hundreds of thousands of precious dollars on unnecessary lawyers' fees and for lost arbitration decisions? I've said it more than a few times, a healthy, respectful labor management relationship is the best thing for all parties, and I mean it. But for that to occur, this board must select a superintendent who will foster a labor management relationship that puts the focus on saving public education and strives to work with labor in that effort, not always against labor by taking nonsensical positions on clear and unambiguous contract language and established past practices. Trustees, for all these reasons stated herein, and the many more I could state, but I understand time is short and you have work to do, you must be diligent in your search for a superintendent. Be thoughtful, be thorough. Find a leader who understands that they work for you, not the other way around. That they work for the community and students, not the other way around. And that they work with their staff and not around their staff. Thank you for this opportunity to address you this morning, and Godspeed as you embark on this important decision.
Mrs. Roach, would you please be sure to provide our staff with a copy of that so that we can all have a